I'm working on it. I like your shirt.
Bring a coat.
Yeah, it gets chilly.
It's like Yukon down.
I know.
And I forget all the time.
I watered my plants before I watered my plants before I came in, and so I got a little bit warm.
Well, my glasses broke right before I
Oh
came
no!
here. So these are like the quickie fastest pair.
Yeah.
They had like
They look nice.
Well, they look a lot like the other ones. I branch out, but while I was sitting there waiting, they were right here on time. I was about to get lunch. And then Jason finished and while I was sitting there waiting, drinking glasses. Yes, I did. I told him, I said, it's the last buddy. I said, yeah, and then this big conversation. I don't know about, and I was like, but you know, my daughter is that's what she's yeah, but she said the girl she said, I don't know what these doctors are doing. She's going around with a little dog. She said, so yeah, and so more like when it's separate study. That's what it's for. So then I'm talking about these. So they can't come in because of they're recorded, yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Well, gosh,
it's good to see you.
Like cheese. Could you Belgium, please? Yeah, like Brazil. So Belgium.
Is that what you prefer?
Yeah.
Belgium.
Please. Yep.
You're fine.
I mean, it's never happened before. I'm just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I just told me just come this is thighs. So it's like
Yeah.
really.
Yes.
Peace. Belzile, peace.
Yes.
Belzile, peace.
Brazil.
Zile.
Bell, like you're saying, ring a bell, and then Brazil. Bell.
So I always tell my students
That I one that I might mispronounce their names, but that my name is really mispronounced a lot, especially V-I-T-C-H.
Oh, yeah.
And they laugh, and, you know, so they don't get hurt about their feelings.
Her name is,
It was bad enough.
and then she marries Thies, which people don't do that all the
Well,
time.
and my sister-in-law's name is Maria.
Yeah.
So Maria Thies, Marie Thies. That's why I use both. And
and you go by Mrs.
yes.
Good.
I never asked her.
There's Carter.
But I asked him if he has a card.
Yes, he is. I know she's busy. I need to go to ask Caitlin how to work my phone.
set with you? Oh, they mix the set.
That's good.
That's good. I'm kind of in the middle of the road anyhow.
We figured it would be better to go alphabetical.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna suck in during the election, though. Because I'm gonna be down the back.
The person who was always the last one on
Yeah.
the main
Well,
ballot.
I may not be last.
When there were 11 people running for 2 seats, and I'm like, the last people on the ballot.
Didn't help.
Now there's 5. This
Is that right?
What do I have here? 30 seconds to introduce the board.
I'll hold both sides and
Amazing. It's
Yeah, that's fine. And your other question was fine too. But I had highlighted it, but I'm going to add this to it. That's a good economic development question.
She said that's more in line with the prioritization.
Yeah, this statement. But you still had a really good question. So I was going to ask that. But
It just seems to me that they might be able to better answer the question if they wanted to earlier.
the frame. But, and you know what? They might take it as a different kind of frame too, right? So that's your frame, but they might see it in a different kind of way.
Well, I think that understanding media is like somebody's going to choose
Yeah.
the reasons why I want to.
Yeah.
I understand that there are other people that feel different things and are going to make decisions based on what's best for all. But I feel like that specific, it's really kind of pertaining to building a healthier society.
Okay, so what you can do is during the free time, we have about 30 minutes of open time. Go and ask each candidate. Okay. I think yeah. We have a meet and greet time. Does that sound good? Yes. Hey, Connie, how are you?
Seen you for a while.
I know, how are things going? You guys have been so busy with your voter registration.
And exciting.
Yeah, thank you for all the work.
Oh, hey, that's my thing. I like to do that.
Yeah.
I just hope they.
I know, only a few more weeks, right? All right, and there's Alice, who I hear has just been cracking the whip for your group.
That's right, she is. She's got to keep it simple.
I love it. It's good to see you. Hey, how are you, Lakeisha? You look so cute. I love your sweet. You look so great. And next
I emailed him back and said, so we got back, we left at 5 o'clock, 5 this morning, we got back at 4:20, so we got some good news too, so yeah, so she has to go back 2 years or now, get your ranking. And so they get this stamp. So this was
What they gave us. Actually, I have done.
yeah, and our live stream, so when they happen.
How about Steve? Steve said he's good. So, it's about time
And I'm glad your wife's doing it.
Yes, we are.
I never had one.
Yeah, maybe. Steve, they said Steve's coming, I think. They said. He was here in the spring. He came in the spring, Steve did.
Yeah, he said he plans Well, there's a lot of the kids clothing and stuff had like,
Yeah, so Brenda's not coming, they said. They weren't able to hold her, but they said Steve said he was coming.
You might be sitting over here by yourself.
That's all right. That'd be fine. Hey, Sylvester. NAACP there.
This is my Cracker Barrel crowd.
Yes, you should know all these people, don't you? I don't know them all. There's some ISU students. Did you go introduce yourself to any of them?
Hi, Mr. Becker. I'm Carly Schmidt. I'm a moderator
Oh,
for
okay,
tonight.
great. Hi, Carly.
Yeah.
So, who-
Have you seen Mr. Ellis?
I have not.
Okay.
I just asked if he was coming or not.
Yes. Okay. Mr.
Oh, I'm good.
I'll get all the candidates.
Jim is here and Brad's here.
Yeah. So we're missing.
So far we're
You
four.
may be here by yourself.
I won't. I'm with all my friends.
Okay.
Yeah, no kidding. Please do. Please do. Might start singing.
Or one of them could move. You could move one of them over here.
I'd like to have a chat with all the candidates.
Oh, okay. Oh, so let's have a chat with
I've
us.
already turned over. We are, yeah. We're missing Mr. Ellis. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a one minute introduction. Okay, so I do have a question, introduce yourselves, and then we're going to start in alphabetical order and work our way down to the question, and then we'll do 1 minute per question. Okay, unless I think we might need more time for a particular question, and we'll just make our way through, okay? So we'll go for about, I think, till about 7:15-ish, and then we'll do 30-second closing remarks.
Or the mic's gonna be hot once I return.
You cannot access from over here.
No spark signs. Okay, I appreciate that. All right, let's get your mics turned on.
I feel like they're on.
They're all on. Are they all on?
Here. If you guys want another mic, I don't need two. I'll share.
Please don't be afraid to be up close to the mic.
Yes, please speak directly into the mic. Otherwise, the folks in the back can't hear you.
I don't even know if they need a mic. How you doing?
They are.
Test.
Can you mark the ones on top that you think are the most important?
All right.
Okay.
I'm warning you, my
Hello.
allergies are killing me, so I'm
We are at 6:03. We're going to get started.
farm fields.
We have some seats still available, so please come and take a seat. Okay, welcome to the League of Women Voters of Vigo County's Vigo County Council Candidate Forum. We'd like to first begin by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is the first in a three-part series of candidate forums, and next week we will be here on Tuesday for the County Commissioners Forum. The League thanks our co-sponsors for the forums, the Greater Terre Haute Branch of the NAACP, the Terre Haute Tribune Star, the Terre Haute Wabash Valley Alumni Chapter of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Inc., and the Vigo County Public Library. I am Carly Schmidt, co-president of the League of Women Voters of Vigo County and also associate professor of political science at Indiana State University. I'm going to serve as the moderator for this forum and the ones to come. The League has sponsored candidate forums in Vigo County for decades, and our goal here tonight is for citizens to be able to ask questions and thus become more informed about the choices on their ballot in the upcoming election. It is through thoughtful, deliberative, civil dialogue that we can truly make democracy work for us. Today, of course, marks a very tragic day in our shared history, and we cannot forget that we also have shared democratic values. A couple of housekeeping items. We ask that everyone silence their phones and that everyone hold their applause until the end of the forum. So we're going to proceed as follows. The question and answer portion of tonight's program will run until about 7:15. Then at that time, audience members will be able to meet and talk with the candidates until the library closes at about 7:45. Each candidate is going to kick off this forum with a 1-minute introduction, and then we'll open up the question and answer portion. Audience members may submit their questions on note cards. We have many folks around here who will pick them up and give you extra cards if you need them. But the questions have to be formatted for all the candidates, not a single candidate in particular. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to respond to each question, and then at the end, each candidate will have the opportunity for a 30-second concluding remarks component. Robbie Piper, League Secretary, is up front once again, holding down the fort as our timekeeper, and she will keep all these candidates very accountable to the time. So with that, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Anderson, who's going to kick us off with the introductory comments.
Thank you for putting this on. It's always a good thing, and it's good to see a good crowd here tonight. Some of them through the years have not been quite as crowded. But I was born and raised in Vigo County, graduated from Wiley High School long time ago, as you all know. Lived here all my life. I was elected 5 times to the county council, and then I was 2 terms as county commissioner. I now serve on the trustee board in Honey Creek Township. I've spent 32 years as a broker, a real estate broker with Coldwell Banker, but born and raised here, 5 grandchildren. My wife retired from Pfizer, and it's a great community, and I always wanted to be involved, and so thank you all for coming tonight.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Marie Belzil-Thies, and I first want to start off by thanking the League of Women Voters for always, and the Vigo County Public Library for always providing safe places for people to have forums like this where people can feel comfortable asking questions and engage in our community and with leaders from our community. So I always appreciate that. Some of you are very familiar from Cracker Barrels, where I see you a lot. I am a public school educator. This is my 29th year. I have a family that I'm very proud of. I'm a boy mom of 3 boys that are, I guess, all technically adults now, and my husband Andy, who's in the crowd. We've always been very engaged in our community, and when this position kind of popped up, in 2020, I was thinking somebody should maybe consider running it, and so I said, why not me? I've been very proud to be on the county council. I love this community, and I want to continue doing this job. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bramble?
I'm Jim Bramble. I'm a lifelong resident of Vigo County. I graduated from Indiana State University with majors in accounting and political science long before Carly was there. Okay. I'm a certified public accountant by profession. I'm currently serving as Vigo County Auditor, and I have served 4 terms actually as county auditor and finishing up my last because I'm term limited.
Thank you. Mr. Thacker.
Hi, my name is Todd Thacker, and thanks to the League of Women Voters, to the Vigo County Library, and also to the NAACP. I saw their name on that as well. I see a lot of familiar faces in the crowd. I am not a lifelong resident here. I chose to move here in 1985 for work. And so my work is I worked 40 years as the IBW as an electrician. I managed the union for 18 of those years out there at 46 in Holman. You may see the sign out there. It's a voting center as well. So when Don Morse passed away, a tragic accident, I was caucused in. So this is my first campaign. So if you see I'm not doing something right, let me know. But I've got some cards out there, but you look forward to talk to anybody. I've got, the reason I'm running is I have we raised 2 sons here, and we have 2 grandchildren that live here. My son and my daughter-in-law teaches at Terre Haute North. So I want to be engaged in the community, and that's why I'm running to be reelected. I'm currently serving as the president of the county council. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're going to open it up first with the question from the League of Women Voters of Vigo County, and it's also a question that many of you have asked, the topic related to the overcrowding in the county jail. So do you feel that the county council has done a good job in helping to alleviate the overcrowding in the newly constructed jail? What steps would you take to ensure that we do not wind up in the same situation as before? Mrs. Belzil-Thies?
Thank you. It's a very good question, a very important question. One of the things that I can say I've been very proud of, and it's my time on the council, is making sure I take time to observe and be a part of visiting, whether it be the jail, the courts, the whole process, doing ride-alongs with our sheriff and law enforcement as well. And something that I feel like our council has done is really try to support some very creative programs in our courts, whether it be our family recovery court or what we refer to as problem-solving courts. Many of our courts have, our people that are in the jail have addiction issues and mental health issues, and we're being very proactive along with some funding the Board of Health received to put in recovery coaches and different kind of counseling programs to hopefully reduce recidivism and just get the people the help they need so they don't end up in a situation. Jail is not the place for those kinds of services, but we have to provide them and really help these people.
Mr. Bramble?
I think we should provide the courts with all the tools that they need to process these pre-trial people that are in jail, move them through the court system quicker. Another thing the county's working on, which I think is a really good idea, is that we're looking at expanding the community corrections program so that people are under supervision and are able to work and but not be completely locked up in the jail. And they'll receive some training and whatever help they need in that community correction program, things that aren't available at the jail.
Okay. Mr. Thacker?
Yeah, so in the time that I've been on there, I was not on the council when they had to make that tough decision about the size of the jail. But when they opened the jail, I was on council, and ever since they've opened that jail, it has been at maximum capacity. It's not big enough jail because we are still housing inmates out of county at a cost to our taxpayers. So my opinion is there's too many people in jail that are in there for the wrong reasons. They're in there for substance abuse or mental health issues. To what they just talked about is we need to expand our community corrections and get some of those people out of there. I am more for expanding community corrections than I am for building a pod on the jail. So that's one thing. If you're looking about a vote for me, that's where I'm running for, is to try to help these people. And if we have to build it, the lawsuit is still engaged from us that caused us to build the jail has never been released because we've never brought all the inmates back into the county. We have to have them in the county for a whole year before she's going to release that lawsuit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is from, excuse me, Mr. Anderson, I'm sorry.
You're dodging that.
I forgot we didn't start with you. Are you ready to answer this question?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I agree with everything that was said. We need the jail. We added 200 more beds when we built that jail, and it was still overcrowded. But every county, Knox, Greene, Sullivan, Vermilion, all are adding on to their jails. But a lot of it, like these guys say, is getting it through the courts much quicker. We've got to get that. And community corrections is a great program. And if we can expand that out to help take care of these people, I think it's very important. But right now, we have to worry about that and take care of these prisoners that are in there to make it safe, and the workers. It's very important that when you're overcrowded, that's when you cause problems and people can get hurt, and so we got to make sure that we can take care of them.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is from one of our co-sponsors, the Terre Haute Wabash Valley Alumni Chapter of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. This is about citizen involvement. How do you plan to engage with residents and ensure their voices and all voices are heard in county decision-making? Mr. Bramble, you're first.
Well, first of all, I think we could set up our meetings on more convenient schedules. Right now, I think there's pretty minimal notice of when any of our public meet, whether it's commissioners or council or CIB or whoever. Perhaps we could do better to push those notices out to the public through the media and social media, and so people know when these events are taking place.
Okay. Mr. Thacker?
Yes, so we do have a website. If you go to the Vigo County website, we also, all of our meetings are streamed on YouTube. You can go on there. If you're not able to attend the meetings, you can go to that. We all have public comments at those meetings. And on that website, they even put our emails and phone numbers on it. So you can get a hold of us if you're passionate about it, because I know people have, because they've gotten a hold of me. So we do make it accessible. And one thing, if I got a little time left from the last one, I forgot to say, part of the problem is, I don't know if everybody realizes, but the DOC doesn't come and pick up the people who have been sentenced for sometimes 5-6 days, and they don't even have to pay the county for that. And a lot of times we're averaging 20 to 40 people that need to be picked up to take into the other facilities. That's on the Vigo County taxpayers. So that's a concern that we should let the State House know. Thank you.
Mr. Anderson?
The thing we need to do in this community too is, it's very hard to do, but get volunteers. We have a lot of good organizations that need volunteers. I spent quite a few years on the Fair Board and was president of the Fair Board and the 4-H, getting people to help with these kids, help these kids learn, Boy Scouts, all these people. We need to get people locally to volunteer a little more time. I know it's hard sometimes to find time to do this, but I think it's very important. And the community, when we used to appoint board members, we had a hard time finding board members even. And if anybody's interested in doing that, they need to get with us. And so we know when we have to make some appointments, we got a pool to work out of. And it's just very important to be involved in your community.
Mrs. Belzile, please.
Thank you. Very good question. I appreciate that. As a social studies teacher, I teach a lot about engagement and using your voices, and especially through what we've learned in history and what we see today. And while we do have ways to access the public and access us as officials, one of my firm beliefs too is you have to go where the people are. Not everyone's comfortable coming to different meetings or checking things out. I know watching on YouTube's safe, but you don't have that level of engagement that you might if you go to an event or go to some of the local organizations. And it's something I have tried to pride myself in, is just being out and about in the community to make myself accessible. And through that, you make those connections, and then you can do some of the things like possibly reaching out to new faces for boards and for positions and learning what's going on rather than, having people come to you, hearing from the people and going there.
Okay. Mr. Thacker, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing Vigo County, and what opportunities do you think the county should pursue?
So, being on county council, we are the fiscal body of for the government for Vigo County. So I see the challenges related to this job of being fiscal. So what happens to it, we get our funding cut from the state, or if we get something that we don't have any control over, we have to manage. And our number one focus is our budget. So that's our biggest challenge for this. And with that being said, if we're going to expand this community corrections, that's got to be one of our focus. For example, we just had a vote to tear down the old jail. And I was the only one that voted against that because I didn't think the plan was solid in the fact that we were spending $4.1 million to tear down the newest building on that block. If you look at it, and where the courthouse is, that's the newest building, that jail, but we voted to tear it down. So those are the kind of challenges I think that we have in front of us, are fiscal challenges. So we need somebody on there that's going to apply, because part of that is, it was $750,000 just to fill in the hole. Thank you.
Mr. Anderson?
Well, I think a lot of things we need. We need to have more training for people for jobs. When companies come in here, I was on the Economic Development Board for the city and the county both through the years, and people need to have more training, and I'd like to see the schools do a little more of the training in shop. When I grew up, you had shop classes, you had all these different welding, you had all these things, and I think we need to teach these kids to do that. Ivy Tech has great programs to help kids that are not maybe fit for college, but they can earn a good living. Mr. Thacker there is an IBEW man, and he knows, and they're always looking for people to work. But I think training when they're young to get some of this done, I think it'd be a great thing to do in this community, and we need to have people help volunteer to do that too.
Okay, Mrs. Belzile, please.
I'm going to piggyback on that just a little bit. We do have many of those programs as someone that works in the high school. I think the gap that is missing, and something I've advocated for as a county council member, and being a lot of the meetings and rooms where, jobs and companies are coming to our community, is bridging that gap and reaching out to companies saying, come talk to our kids about, different opportunities, internships. We have internships now through our high schools. We have a lot of work programs as well. But I think one of the biggest priorities we've really got to look at, because I think it's the root of a lot of our issues with our budgets and criminal justice, we have to look at our mental health situation in Vigo County. We need to be more proactive and advocate for the young people and making sure that they get the services that they need, whether it be through, we have the highest rate, I want to stress that, of CHINS cases in the state. That's children in need of services. And we've got to do better, and budgets are plans, and plans need to happen for our community.
Okay, Mr. Bramble.
Can you repeat the question again?
I did. What do you see as the biggest challenges facing Vigo County, and what opportunities do you think the county should pursue?
Well, I think it goes back to an earlier question, the criminal justice system, and it's probably the biggest challenge we've got, dealing with the drug addiction in jail, and trying to keep people out of that jail and on the street and being productive. As far as opportunities we've got, I think in the last few years, the center city of Terre Haute's made a lot of progress. We've built a new convention center that's just now starting to take off. We've have a lot of new attractions to the city that hopefully will bring people in. And with that is another problem. We've got to provide the housing for the people that are coming here.
Okay. Our next question is on government transparency. Individuals and organizations had stated that it is difficult to find out how to submit proposals for funding that is available from the county. How can communication about grants and other funding be publicized more widely, particularly to groups who serve underrepresented populations? Mr. Anderson?
Well, grant writing is a big thing today, and doing that. The county really doesn't have a grant writer. We use some people, and we've hired people to write grants for us. The organizations, as far as the council goes, they don't do the grant writing, but there's always something available. St. Mary's has been involved in that. We try to do what we can do, but it's a very tough thing to try to get money from these organizations without a good grant writer. And I think it's important that we look at that, and then people can come to us and ask us about grants, and I'd like to see that become a thing.
Okay. Mrs. Belzile, please.
We have had a few grants go through, and it's always very exciting when those come through, because that adds to our budget. You hear of programs like READY, for example. And I think part of that grant process is, as Mr. Anderson said, we are not necessarily directly with it as a fiscal body, but we can always bridge and communicate and make sure that are out there, whether it be connecting people to the United Way or Wabash Valley Community Foundation for opportunities and helping them lead. But one of the things that we can do to help the grant process is to have plans ready to go. That's one of the things that I've seen has just been really beneficial, that if we have something ready to go, and a big part of that too is a commitment. Usually for us to get a grant, it usually takes some sort of financial commitment from the council or working with the commissioners to make those grants or do what's called matching grants. And we have been, I believe, during my time on the council, very supportive and very excited about those opportunities, but we can definitely help people with communicating to people in our community better.
Okay, Mr. Bramble.
Like a lot of things in county government, the process of managing and application for applying for grants is dispersed amongst the various departments of county government. There's no central person or authority in the county government that manages those things. So I think it might be well worth our time to look at perhaps hiring somebody to manage that function and be the central go-to department or agency for that information.
Okay. Mr. Thacker.
Yes, so could you read that question one more time? Because the time it gets to three of them, I'm not sure what the question was.
Individuals and organizations have stated that it is difficult to find out how to submit proposals for funding that is available from the county.
Okay.
How can communication about grants and other funding be publicized more widely?
So with that, I think the answer, the question is really as one for the executive committee, the commissioners, but since we work as the fiduciaries for the county, what I would like to see, and it dovetails on what Mr. Bramble said, is I have said this to the auditor's office before, we need to have a person that is a grant writer and takes care of, because only the front end of the grant is to get it, then you have to administrate the grant, and the auditor's department takes care of that. So we see it, and if we just look at what we just did with $50 million of ARPA funding that came from our friends in D.C., that if you know what I mean by friends, Democrat friends, that we got the $50 million. So we had a choice what to do with that, and I think we could have done a better job of communicating it but that's the executive branch of it. We're the fiduciary branch. So in my opinion is we have somebody in the auditor's office that has those duties. It would be well serviced instead of outsourcing that to other industries. I got to stop.
There was a question about communication between the commissioners and the county council, and I think what I'm hearing is that there definitely needs to be some better communication in terms of this issue with grants.
Absolutely.
The next question, we have several questions about Wabash Valley resources. I think we'll start by asking what is each of the candidates' position on Wabash Valley resources? What do they think about the project? And what would you do to protect the citizens of Fayette Township? Okay, that's the first part. The second part is about accountability and the hiring, the promises that came with the tax abatement and hiring laborers, and if they have followed through with that. So it's kind of a two-parter, okay? First is accountability, the second is accountability. The first is your position on Wabash Valley resources and protecting Fayette Township. So we are going to start with you, Mrs. Belzalthis.
It's been a tough one, and I appreciate the engagement of the people with Wabash Valley Resources as far as those who are asking the questions from the community around Fayette. Many of them are from farming communities, live in the area, neighborhoods, have children at the schools. It was a tough question, and it's I don't know 1 minute can take it on. I did my best to really reach out and look at things in the beginning as we started to hear more about it, and I did have one of the only no votes when it came to the abatement part of it. I believe it was on the real property. As someone who gets communication and information from it, I communicate to Wabash Valley Resources. I've received a couple emails. I call and say I'd like to know more about how you're monitoring seismic activity. This was something I received just a few weeks ago. And while we're not, we're the financial body, I can always continue to be an advocate and ask questions and demand for more for our people in our community.
Mr. Bramble?
Well, first off, I think the abatement that was given to them was a mistake. They gave, I believe it was 100% abatement for 10 years. Abatements, I think, should be used as a tool to attract businesses that may or may not come here. That Wabash Valley Resources had nowhere else to go. I mean, that was their only location. But that being said, they have promised to provide local labor and such that during the construction and operation. That hasn't started, but the council annually reviews abatements to determine if the companies are living up to the promises they made when they gave the abatements, and I would certainly encourage continuing that with this and other companies.
Mr. Thacker?
Yes, so I'll try to do the best I can. I think the question is longer than the time that we have to answer, but if you break it down and say, there was a tax abatement, the county council only has the control over a certain facet of it. We don't have control over the land purchasing and what's going on about their operations of it. We only have control of the tax abatement. So we do have to annually to see if they meet the requirements of that tax abatement. But I can tell you on labor side of it, because I sat on the building trades, they signed a project labor agreement, so it will be done 100% with local people and the local union. So that part, I can answer that. I think we have learned more about the Wabash Valley Resources after the tax abatement. So I would say a lot of that stuff was handled at the State House, and it wasn't the commissioners and it wasn't the county council. But it doesn't matter. If they're mad at us, they're mad at us. But I was involved with the tax abatement, and I own whatever I do.
Okay. Mr. Anderson.
Okay, I was, being on the council all the years, I was on the 18 years and never knew of a abatement that we gave them, that 10-year tax abatement. Maybe I'm wrong, but as long as I can remember, we never did that. We use it as a tool to help fight with the other company or other counties and other states trying to get some help. As far as what is going on up there, guys, I'll be honest with you, have not stayed up with it. I've talked to some of the people from up there, had concerns, wanted to know more about what their guarantee on their wells and that type of stuff. And as Marie said, we want to know that that's being enforced. From what I understand, and maybe you guys can help me later on to give me some ideas, but some of the people I talked to had a guarantee of so long that the wells would be good and stuff. So, to be honest with you, I can't give you the answers, but I'd sure like to learn.
Okay. If elected to a seat on the Vigo County Council, what ways would you choose to direct funds to be allocated so that potential businesses would agree that Vigo County is a good place to build, grow, and prosper? Mr. Bramble.
Well, I think probably one of the biggest functions of county government is maintenance of our infrastructure and transportation system. We've got to do our best to keep our roads in good shape, provide the social services we need in the community to make sure everybody's healthy, and we've got to take care of, like I said previously, take care of some of our addiction problems and such, so that it's an attractive community.
Okay. Mr. Thacker?
So I am an elected official, so I can say what I have, not only what I will do, but what I have done. So since I've been on, I serve as the president, and then, but I also am on the Thrive Steering Committee for Housing, which we got $5 million from the city, $5 million from the county to the Thrive Board. And so we're trying to build, because we know with the jobs coming from these tax abatements that we gave, you can question whether we should have given them the tax abatement or not, but now we have them here, and they're going to be jobs, and we're going to need housing for them. So with that, I serve on that for the growth of the community. We're trying to build 5,000 homes in 5 years, and we're offering incentives through this. And also, I'm on the municipal board for transportation, so I'm involved in that. So those are the couple of the things that I'm doing to try to better the community and try to work with the commissioners. Sometimes I feel like we have to treat them like teenagers and tell them no on some of this and not give them the money that they're asking for, and that's the way we have better communications. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Anderson?
Well, as we know, I think Terre Haute and Vigo County in the last few years, we've seen a growth in downtown. We've seen a growth in things people can do. The Visitors Bureau, very involved. We've got a lot going on here in Vigo County. I'm just proud to be part of it and was for a lot of years. But I think we're getting homes again with all the companies and the people coming. We've got 600 people coming to that battery plant if that goes. It's impossible, and being a landlord, I own some rental properties, and I get calls every day, people wanting houses, and it's hard to find in this community, and good, nice rentals, but it's very difficult, but as Mr. Thacker said, it's very important that we start building some more homes and getting some places to these people to come when they get a job, because there's just not enough. You think all the apartments we have, there would be plenty, and they keep building, but there is not to take care of these people.
Okay, Mrs. Belzal, please.
Could you repeat, just so I make sure I answer? I'm kind of with Todd on this.
Okay, that's what I'm here for. If elected to a seat on the Vigo County Council, what ways would you choose to direct funds to be allocated so that potential businesses would agree that Vigo County is a good place to build, grow, and prosper?
I agree. Being on the council, one of the things we do is work on infrastructure, supporting that, having opportunities for growth of businesses. But I think being on those boards, being at the table when decisions are being made for growth is very important. But I also think, I used to throw around the phrase quality of life a lot. And I think quality of life means a lot to a lot of different things to people. And to attract and continue our growth, we need to take care of some of the issues, but also do some of the positive things we've wanted to do. And as we do allocation, by serving on boards, I'm on Wabash Valley Recovery, Thrive, Riverscape. They're doing an amazing job with planning for the future, collaboration. The best way that the council can work for those positions is to be an advocate for what the community wants, and also make sure that when we make decisions, we're making wise decisions on how to move our county forward, whether it be in growth or the needs that we have.
Okay, Mr. Bramble.
I think I did
Oh, you just started. My apologies. See, that happens.
Do it again.
Let's see if he says the same thing. Yeah, right? Okay, so we will start with Mr. Thacker, okay? What do you think the county needs to be doing in terms of maintaining and improving roads and the transportation infrastructure in our county?
Well, one of the things we have to do is, and I've been harping on this for almost 2 years now, we need a capital campaign. What we're going to do, what are we doing with our total budget for the county? And part of that is what we need for transportations. And so that is coming to us. I believe I've been asking for that. And for example, we just used $1.5 million from our ARPA funds for the new bridge at Hausenberger. So we have, with Larry Robbins is very good with deciding what we need and what growth we need to have and where we need to do the work. The very first money we spent on ARPA funds was $2.2 million for culverts, for immediate replacements of those. So we've already funneled some of that money that we got from ARPA into the infrastructure of our county to help improve that. But we need an overall plan for the whole county, what we're spending all of our money on, and that infrastructure and roads is a big part of that.
Okay, Mr. Anderson?
I really believe the county has done a great job with the roads and taking care of maintaining what we have. It's very expensive, but NDOT is we get matching funds from NDOT at some of these projects like Spring Hill, and been trying to make some improvements down there, but it's just amazing, I think, for what they have to work with. But Vigo County's been very lucky. We've had more money in Vigo County in the last few years because of the money that was there, and I think most of it's been spent pretty wisely. But we've been able to make improvements with the road work. And now, instead of going and paving a road and then putting a pipe in later on, then you got all this stuff. They plan that out now, and I think that Larry does a great job, the engineer. And because I just always hated it, we'd pave a road and then they want to put a pipe in, and then you got all that, and we just wasted that money. But I think they've done a good job planning, and I'm pretty proud of the highway department.
Mrs. Belzalthis?
I better get this one right because my husband's a civil engineer, so I feel like I've heard about roads and things my whole life. I'm really proud of the work Larry's done. I have to give a shout out. He was a former student of mine, so I'm sure everything he does is because he had me for government and history. But one of the things I really admire is that we have a system of how we do things. Whether it be our culverts or ditches and things that he's working on, he has a ranking system, and it's something that we've been able to learn about as we were looking at some of the ARPA money that Todd Thacker had mentioned, to make sure which ones are our roads that are in the worst shape, which bridges are in the worst shape. We're responsible, I learned this we're responsible for all the bridges pretty much in our community. And so those are expensive things. And Larry and our commissioners and our council, we have to decide where the priorities are, where the areas are that we can do things, but also being proactive with prevention and maintenance. And I can't say enough, I'm with Mr. Anderson, our highway crew, and what they can do in-house is pretty amazing, and they do a great job.
Okay, Mr. Bramble.
I really don't have anything to add to what's been said, but the presently in process is we're developing a capital improvement plan over, I think it's a 5-year period, looking at what revenue we can expect to come in, what the needs for roads, bridges, all our buildings. That's a big part of it. County government is maintaining all the buildings that we've got. So I think we're on top of it down there.
Okay. Mr. Anderson, you're up now. Are you concerned about the northern counties taking millions of gallons of water from the Wabash River? And what could you do in a position on the council to protect the water supply, or at least advocate for the water supply of Vigo County?
Could you repeat the first part of that question?
Are you concerned about the northern counties taking millions of gallons of water from the Wabash River?
Oh, okay. I didn't know they were.
Yes, so it happened up near Lafayette. There's been an issue.
I'm not familiar with that. And then, like I said, there's plenty of water in the river, so I don't know what they're taking it for, but I don't see anything. I'm more concerned with is contamination of the water usage through things, but that I can't answer. I'm sorry.
Okay. Mrs. Belzalthis?
With the LEAP district, it is a concern. I know we have a lot of local people who have been advocating. I just recently had the privilege of going on a ride up and down the river, which was pretty cool. I've been wanting to do that with some of our Wabash, with the soil and water people. And it is something that people in our area are going to continue to advocate for. They're looking at potentially using it for industry that's growing, north of Indianapolis. And I think we're going to have to learn more and learn how to advocate at the State House. It's something I take pride in. I reach out to our state lawmakers a lot about, started off with education, but I talked to them about a lot of issues. And our Wabash River is the whole reason that we're here. It's why Terre Haute was founded and Vigo County was founded. And so it continues to be an important resource. We're talking about developments along it, whether it be commercial or residential. We have to advocate to keep it as it is.
Okay, Mr. Bramble.
Well, the Wabash Valley Resources was slipped in on us by the legislature in Indianapolis, but without anybody really knowing what was going on. But we've got warning about this. That the plans are out there to pump water to that LEAP district out of the river, and there's just no way in the world that's not going to affect us. So we've got to get active and let the legislature know it's not good for Vigo County.
Mr. Thacker.
Yeah, so I have a little bit of knowledge about this, and also growing up on a farm, and I was involved with the Ambrol River Management Association, which is a 192-mile river, and we did studies on it. But this lead district, what they're talking about is, I met with Farm Bureau, and I've met with the state legislators on this. So what happened at Wabash Valley may have a good benefit to it. So now there are rights. There's mineral rights, oil rights, water rights. There's 18,000 injection wells in Indiana. So what we have to worry about is with this, not only what water they're pulling out of the river, it's the aquifer that's really concerning. And if you live downstream, which about all of us do live downstream of something, right? We need to be concerned about it. So we need to make sure if out west, water rights are more valuable than oil rights. So what we have to do is, if we have the water, it's kind of like Field of Dreams. If we have the water, they will come.
Okay. All right. Our next question is, are you satisfied with the spending of the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds? Is there another project you would have liked to have seen funded? Mrs. Belzal-Thies.
I think the council did the right thing as we were getting things moving and kind of saying, there were some projects I think we supported wholeheartedly that we knew we needed, like some of the maintenance of the culverts that we were able to do and other opportunities, but the council stood firm on that we wanted a plan, and we did better once we got those plans. And what I appreciate the council, and I have to give credit to my fellow councilman, Todd Thacker, we created a committee with the commissioners once we got through some of the projects and funding to work more closely with the commissioners on the decision on those final spending. I believe strongly about some of the things we did. We have to do better about child care options and connections with education institutions in our community. I supported those wholeheartedly. I think we can do better for families in general in our community, and I think there's some really big things that we did that were very important decisions. Homeless is probably one of the issues, and I know I ran out of time there, but that I felt like we could have done some more.
We can
with.
do an extra 30 seconds if you want to
Yeah,
keep
I feel
going
like,
for every candidate.
it's a big one.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of it ties together, but I really would have liked to have seen some resources and work done towards the homeless population, whether it be a collaboration with the city or resources or anything we could have done. There are people in just need some help and resources, and I think our local agencies try to do what they can, but I think we could have done better on that area.
Okay, Mr. Bramble, 90 seconds.
I would probably maybe give them a C- on the use of the ARPA funds. I would like to have seen more of it used on core county government functions. The county's got a lot of needs that it's required to fund. We've talked about roads and bridges and infrastructure. I think some of it, more of it could have gone that way. in the beginning, when it was there, the initial plans and allocations that the commissioners made, there was absolutely no public involvement in it, and there should have been.
Mr. Thacker.
Yeah, so I will say, being part of that, I think if anybody is honest with themselves, you always think you could have done better hindsight. But when you're in the mix of it, and just like Councilperson Thies said, is one of the very first ones they came to us was an ask for $3.3 million, and they didn't have a plan, and we voted it down. And we told them, don't bring us this. We don't want a nickel and dime and throw this away. I think what we tried to do a better job is we tried to partner with READY, with Lilly Grants, with ISU on the child care. So we tried to do a $9 million project by giving $3 million. So I think we could have done better on that. And I agree with Mr. Bramble about the same thing. As hindsight, we could have done better. But we did, the very first thing they did is, as the executive committee, the commissioners did, they said that they did a calculation and said up to $10 million of the $20 million the county could be used to replenish lost revenue due to COVID. So when I looked at it just the other day, because we have $308,000 left that we're still going to be meeting on the subcommittee that Councilperson Thies talked about, but we have within the county government on the roads, bridges, culverts, other things of the county with helping the sheriff's department, we have spent $8 million of that for the county. So I don't think everybody may not realize that. So we did spend $8 million of it because we had lost revenue. So it was a big help to the county. So I appreciate it. And like any time we do something, we could always hindsight think we did it better, could do it better.
Mr. Anderson?
Well, I think that the money had so many restrictions, as you guys learned, that were on there. I looked into that and seeing what it could be used for. There was a few things that I didn't really agree with that should have went for. But the problem is when you start spending money, when the money runs out, the taxpayer still has to make that up. And that's the scary thing. And so the improvements that we could make for the government, I think is good. But that money's not going to always be there, and taxpayer's going to have to pay for that. And if anything was done where it continues on. So, and I'm not really sure of all the things it went for, but I think they did a pretty good job spending most of the money. It was good things for the community. But like I said, we don't want taxes. There's a very important thing to people when they're paying those taxes and saying, hey, we got to have more money. People don't like that.
Okay, all right. The county is getting an avalanche of dumped animals. What would you do to help animal rescue services and the local humane society? Mr. Bramble.
Well, I think some of the ARPA money did go to the Humane Society. We provide them with funds annually. Part of the new building that was built out there, I think they were supposed to provide an office for a vet out there, but I don't think they've been able to hire a vet yet. So we need to look into what it'll take to get that job done.
Okay, Mr. Thacker?
So yes, we did donate, part of it was $250,000 of ARPA funds went to the Humane Society, and that helped for the construction of the services for spade and neutering, and their intentions were to get a veterinarian in there full time. I was just talking to the mayor the other day. I stopped by and saw him, and they have been able to get a traveling vet, just like you have traveling nurses. So they have a traveling vet that will come in 2 days a week. So they are trying to address the issue of it. So I think that's the main thing we have to do. And there again is not just, we're taking a problem that's after the fact. Sometimes the education needs to be in front of that. So why are we having these dumped animals, So I heard on the debate last night that Springfield, Ohio's got a different approach of doing it. I don't think it's true, but that's what I heard on the debate, so.
Okay, Mr. Anderson.
I don't know what to say after that. When I was commissioner, of course, we helped them quite a bit to build the new building out there. We did give them money. The county gives them for every animal they pick up. We pay. So the county has done a lot to help them through the years and continues to do that. But spay and neuter, guys, is the thing that we need to have people be able to go somewhere and get that done and be able to afford it. People can't afford $100 to all these cats and dogs. I live out in the country and people drop off cats. My daughter's got 6 of them right now. And I don't like cats that well, but no, I do. But, it's just... It's just crazy, but we got to start spaying and neutering. We got to do a facility, and that's what we hoped when you gave the money to the humane shelter, that they would have a spay and neuter set up there with a veterinarian that they can do that, because there's a lot of them.
Okay. All right, Mrs. Belzile, please.
My son, when he was in Honor Society, one of the places, and I was so worried when he said, I want to volunteer at the Humane Society. I thought, oh gosh, here we go. We're going to get all kinds of wants for puppies, and I'm allergic to cats. I love cats, but I can't have them. But I saw the work that they do. They have incredible volunteers, but all the work that they do and everything that we can do, you've got the problem. You've got to educate. You've got to advocate. And I think being out in the community, you have to educate people on the proper care of animals. My husband and I also live out in the country. We see people, we live in a neighborhood kind of out in the country, so it's a nice target for people to drop off animals. And it just breaks my heart when I see people not caring for their animals or letting them roam or not being responsible pet owners. But we have to do what we can, and that includes the continued support. I will say our commissioners have been pretty supportive of the Humane Society, and I think we just need to find ways to get the word out that we have these services, because if we have these services and we don't get the word out, it's not gonna work.
Okay, a lot of our questions focus on short-term sort of issues that we have, but we have a question about long-term goals that our candidates might have. So what is your vision for the future of Vigo County for the next 10 years, and what steps might you take to achieve it? And Mr. Thacker, we're going to throw it to you for the big picture question.
Okay, so the big picture question I brought up earlier, I've been asking for it, and Mr. Bramble said it, so we have to have this community plan. It's a 5-year plan, and that's what some people consider the beginning of long-term. But, my goal is and a wise man told me one time, the way you fill in a hole, you quit digging. So what we have to do is, with our censuses here in Vigo County, we have to quit shrinking first, right? Before we can actually show growth. And so we're trying to turn that tide. And I think what we see in the city with the new excitement, what we're doing with the Strive, and what we're doing with the jobs, the tax abatements, and the growth, I think what we're going to see in long term is we're going to turn this around, and we're going to see the next census where we have shown growth. And I think the things that we're putting in place right now, and we're using this ARPA funds as part of what helped us do this, and giving these tax abatements to these companies to invest into our communities and bringing the jobs and the housing.
Okay. Mr. Anderson?
I think we are doing a lot of things to help with this, and hope we continue to do this. But I think retaining the kids from moving away, and with the ISU, Rose-Hulman, we have to have jobs that those people can go to retain some of these kids. And it's very important that we train these kids and have this ready for them. But I think the community's seeing growth, and I think we've done a pretty good job over the years. But we need to keep our kids here. I know I've had a couple that had to move away to work, and it's hard to see the grandkids, and you want everybody to stay here as close as we can and keep this community going.
Okay, Mrs. Belzile, please.
I am seeing a new excitement in this community. I think we have some incredible people stepping up. Even in the 4 years I've been on the council, I think we have some of the best collaboration we've had between county, city, and I'm going to throw education in it. Education is a key part of this community. If we don't build those bridges, whether it be with our higher education community or our K through 12 community or even pre-K, that's a big part of it. And one of the things I've been really excited to see, and I've seen it with some of my own former students, is Mayor Sackman really developing and embracing the internship programs. And I think we can do even better and expand on that by providing opportunities within the county, encourage our businesses to do the same thing. Because if you can get some of the students to stay here in the summer, experience the opportunities that we have here, learn that we have some incredible businesses and institutions in our community and agencies, then maybe they'll give Terre Haute a second chance, whereas before they might not have.
Okay, Mr. Bramble.
I think we need to continue improving the quality of life things that we've been working on lately. The riverfront, I think, can be a great asset in the future if we put some effort and resources into that. Downtown's improving. We've got new hotels coming there. We've completed the Larry Bird Museum and the Convention Center, and the Capital Improvement Board's next project, I think, is going to be the Indiana Theater. They've got plans in progress for that. That's going to be a great addition to the downtown. But I think we're headed in the right direction, really.
Okay. Our last official question for the night is a topic that many candidates have touched on, but we have a specific question. What are your priorities for improving social services such as housing assistance, food security, and support for vulnerable populations in our community? Mr. Anderson, you're up.
That's a long question, a lot of things. I think we have a good basis for our food and our Catholic Charities does a great job, and we have several food banks that try to help people, and I think the community has done well with them. And the people in this community are very giving in even the stores and stuff that donate to that. My wife was involved with the shoe bus for years, and taking shoes to kids at the schools, and she really enjoyed that. But it's amazing what people will do and give for you to help people out in this community. But the homeless thing is another thing we're going to have to work on and keep working on that.
Okay, Mrs. Belzal-Thies.
I do a lot with this in my classroom, teaching about the needs of our community. We are a high child poverty community. We have a lot of needs. I don't know what we would do in our community without some of the amazing volunteers, churches, agencies. While we might not be one of the wealthiest communities in Indiana, we are one of the most giving, and there was an actual article on that a few years ago that Terre Haute citizens give more percentage-wise of their income to helping others. I think it's because we see it in our neighbors and the people that are in our schools and in our communities and so on. I have to really applaud what we do, but I think as government officials, we need to learn what some of those agencies do. Go to their events, go support their ideas and what they work on. And anytime you see resources or chances for growth or connecting them to whether it be United Way or other groups, you make those things happen, and connecting them and really communicating with each other so we don't duplicate. But I don't know what we'd do without some of our people in this community.
Mr. Bramble.
I think the county will need to continue doing some of the things that it has in the past. Recently, speaking of food insecurity, we delivered a check from the ARPA funds again to Manna from 7 to buy a truck so that they could, I guess, get back and forth from the food bank in Indianapolis. They'd been renting trucks but now they're next, I guess they've got it ordered and they've got the money to pay for it. So that'll help some with food insecurity. We've got to figure out what to do with this homeless problem. I mean, I don't know when that popped up, but I don't recall in years past driving into work and seeing people sleeping on benches in storefronts like I do now. So that's going to take some thought and work.
Okay, Mr. Thacker.
Yeah, so I look at it a little bit different. I think you have to look at the larger problem is if you first take care of people having jobs and housing, then they have income and then they can help. I come from a community of 75 people. We didn't have homeless, we didn't have food kitchens, we didn't have all that. Everybody was related, everybody was family. So you have to extend the bigger, larger family. I've been on United Way boards, help out with that, Habitat for Humanity, helping on the Veteran Village, on the building. So I think we have to try to put people to work on these jobs, which we have, and I do come from the trades, and so we make a good living, and then we also try to teach these apprentices how to give back to the community, how to be engaged in all these different ones. As Councilperson Thies said, is we have to understand the county, their needs, and help them out. But first, if we help people get jobs, then they can get out of that poverty situation that they're in. And so I think that's part of what we have to do. In county government, we can't teach ethics, we can only lead by example.
Okay. Now we're going to turn it over and do 30 seconds of concluding remarks, and we'll start with you, Mr. Thacker.
Okay, well, first of all, I got to say, I don't think you could go wrong with any of us four that's up here. I think there's some really good people here, and, so, I mean, you vote for whatever you think is the right reason. If I don't get reelected, I got plenty of things to keep me busy in life, I'm doing this because I want to give back to the community, and if the community doesn't want me to give, I'm okay with that too. So I just want to say that, but I think it's a great group here, and I've learned a lot in the 3 years since I've been on after Don Morrison's passing, and I'd like to continue that if possible. Thank you for your time today.
Mr. Bramble?
Well, the county council is the county's fiscal body. Its primarily responsibility is establishing budgets, setting tax rates, and we monitor all the component units, the fire districts and other taxing areas. And that has been my career. I've been in government finance all my life. I think I've got a lot of experience and knowledge to bring to this job.
Mrs. Belzal-Thies?
I think it's really important when you look at a county council, you look at the backgrounds of the people that are on there. You want people of different backgrounds, different areas of the community. We're all running for at-large. We represent the whole county, but I think, looking at the whole picture of that and how we can serve and work together. I think an education background, I've got my eyes on the community, whether it be families or children and their needs or, adults in the college setting. And I love what I do, and I ask tough questions, and I want to continue asking those questions and advocating for you.
Okay. Mr. Anderson?
Okay. I love this community. It's been very good to me for a lot of years, my family. I just think it's great. And when I retired, I really miss people and being involved. And I still try to volunteer for a lot of things, but I think being involved and seeing people and talking to people in this community, you learn a lot. And like Mr. Thacker said, anybody up here, they're going to do a good job for you. I'll be better. But, that's the way this community is. No, we all get along. I'd get along with any of these people. If I win, I'll be happy to serve with any of them.
Well, I'm delighted to say that we have two opportunities for you to all to learn more about these candidates. First, you can go on to vote411.org, our voter information website. All of these candidates have filled out information about why they are running for office, in addition to other local candidates. So that is your information resource for candidates. We also have about 35 minutes for a meet and greet right now. So please, the candidates have all agreed to stay and to talk with you all one-on-one. So let's give a hands to Robbie, our timekeeper, first.
She's the best.
And next to our candidates.
So did you have to give Marie the most stops? Did Marie get more stops than anybody else?
No.
We'll see you all next week on Tuesday. Have a good night.
Oh, Wednesday.
Wednesday, excuse me.
Thank you all for coming.
No, it is Tuesday.